All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you can see, my guest is Northern Prepper One.
Thank you.
Uh, I've enjoyed his channel, and I forgot how I came across his channel. I think it was on accident, actually, or he spoke to me first. It was one or the other. But started watching his channel recently, and I'm like, all right, this guy's on the level. So again, I watch a lot of channels before I bring them on, and I have to get a feel for them. And this guy's on the level. He's smart. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. And Northern Prepper One, man, take it away. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As you know, my prepper channel's name is Northern Prepper One. Uh, from Boston, moved here to West Virginia, and I've seen on the YouTube channels. I've been watching Jason for a long time on the Angryprepper channel, and I was like, you know what? After meeting with Pinball out in Tennessee, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a channel, and there's just not enough voices. I mean, if you look at the mainstream media, unfortunately, we do have to pay attention from time to time. And it's just you hear constant negativity. You don't hear anyone trying to say, "Hey, listen, you need to do this." I've been prepping since 2008. For me, it was Obama. That was just kind of the tipping point. I was just like, man, this doesn't sound good. A lot of friends, a lot of people at the gas station, in my area of Massachusetts, like, oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be our first, black president, in which it is historic. But I was like, you got to judge the content of his character, not just his looks, And I'm like, I hope he does something good for us. And well, a lot of his policies is what's in place right now, even though it's not necessarily Obama, it's Biden, and his administration. We saw the fallout of Benghazi under Secretary Hillary Clinton and Obama's administration. A lot of those same people, like their tactics, are in our administration now, unfortunately. So so that's pretty much what got me started on prepping. There's a lot of things that impacted us, like 9/11 and stuff, things that show that we're not as secure as we think we are. So you got to take your responsibility, so you got to make sure you be able to feed your family, protect yourself, all the pretty much 101, prepping stuff. So I enjoy canning. I know I've been seeing Jason showing pictures of canning and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Everyone should be doing that. The one thing that I noticed recently was like World War II. They were telling everybody you should have victory gardens, you should have chickens, you should have this and that. They're not giving us any warning. It's going to come down to you and your family. That's it.
Yep.
So what do you think? What do you think, Jason?
Well, listen, like we were saying behind the scenes, man. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm like, it's turning into such a shit show. Every day I look on the news, I'm like, you fucking with me? It's just something else, and it's almost comical to a point now because it's like on cue.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, all right, this monkeypox. This is not going according to plan. It's only affecting one group of people. Like, you know what? Release the hemorrhagic fever. Let's go with this one. And then now, like, this thing in Iraq is fucking taking hold because of a tick.
Yeah.
Right? And I just did a video on that. I'm gonna release it tomorrow morning. But I don't think this hemorrhagic fever, or what they call it, the nosebleed fever, I don't think we have much to worry about. I mean, obviously, for those people who get it and get sick, they might die as a 10 to 40% mortality rate, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about it actually affecting our food, because if it starts, these ticks make it here in the United States in a year or so, and get into deer and rabbits and cows, we're fucked. Because if it gets into that bloodstream of that animal, and people start getting affected, and guys that work at processing plants stop working at processing plants because they don't want to get infected, process that meat, right? And then who says we can even eat that meat now that it's contaminated with that virus on board? So we have a lot of interesting shit coming down, and one thing might not look like what it is, meaning this hemorrhagic fever isn't what people are starting to say it is, another pandemic. I think no, it's another attack on our food.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and like we were talking about earlier, one of the largest egg factories in the U.S. is torched in the middle of the night.
Yes.
That was out, and it was tens of thousands of chickens on the Floresman Farm in Howard Lake, Minnesota. which is one of the largest national egg producers, which is pretty crazy. I mean, tens of thousands of chickens were killed. So that's going to have an impact.
Oh, big time. I mean, like I said, it's almost comical, man. I'm like, you know, like, for example, my wife is like, oh, I hope even my wife is starting to doubt our Iceland trip. We had the Iceland trip planned for 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we rescheduled it again, and all this shit's starting to happen. I'm like, yeah, I don't think we're going to make it to fucking Iceland. And if we do, I'm going to be super skeptical about if we're allowed to come back home. So that's another issue that we're probably going to have. And if we get that trip under our belt, I think that's it. I think we're not going to see another country for a long fucking time.
Yeah. I think, right now I know gasoline's killing us all. I mean, firsthand, Jason, after just buying a SUV. So it's tough. I know my Suburban, it gets 10 miles to the gallon, and it's a 42-gallon tank.
Jesus.
So I went from filling up under the Trump administration. It was $1.84 at the time. I was able to fill up, probably $86-$90 at tops. But now it's filling up close to 200.
Jesus. Man.
So,
man. Well, like I said, I didn't get it yet. I didn't get the Tahoe yet. But every day I start to look, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe I should put that shit to bed and get something a little more, gas friendly. Which again, the only gas friendly vehicle that I would buy is the Kia Telluride. And a lot of people are like, oh, the Telluride sucks. And I'm like, listen, I got to get something.
Yeah.
I did look into. Somebody sent me a link to. I call them EMP cars, but they're old school cars. And I was looking at the 93 Jeep Cherokee.
Yep.
And I was looking at the 89. I think it was Bronco. And I was looking at these older vehicles. I'm like, well, maybe I should just buy one of those. I mean, they're not as efficient on gas, but they're fucking tanks. And again, I was looking into that. So I don't know. I don't know what to do, because I really want the Tahoe, but I don't want to spend $500 to fucking fill up a car either.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. It's tough because it's something you need practical, but at the same time, you need something that can get you where you need to go. And a lot of times they're not the most fuel efficient.
No, they're not.
What do you think about Biden trying to attack 9mm? I think it's more or less because that's the only caliber he can remember.
Well, is that the one where he said that the bullet blows your lung out?
Yeah.
First of all, I couldn't stop laughing over that comment.
Yeah.
The way it appeared, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, this is real. He really said that. I go,
I'm like,
what the fuck, man? Seriously. I don't know, man. It's a shit show. It's all of it. Him going after 9mm. He's going after anything and everything.
Right. Anything that will stick. Yeah.
Right. Now, what is your opinion on the shooting, the Texas shooting? Well, and when I mean the opinion, I mean as far as what should be the next step in the American process to solve this issue.
Well, there's two things. I'll answer the question obviously, but there's two things to this part. Really, is that Jimmy Carter. We all know who Jimmy Carter is. He's the one that said first responders are police. That, in my opinion, that's false. We are the first responders because we're in the situation. So to answer the question, I'm a firm believer in the Constitution. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. On my channel, that's how I start my channel, and telling everybody all about the Constitution and how I feel about the Second Amendment. But to answer your question is, while we mourn, it shouldn't be about politics right now. But of course, politicians and Democrats are going to push that agenda. While our feelings are mourning for these families and these kids, they're going to push their agenda and be like, now's the time we need to take away guns. Now's the time we need to do this and that. And it's like, no, this is the opposite. We need to have more guns. You need more good guys with guns than bad guys with guns. This was a gun-free zone. This is just another statistic, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying that if there had been a non-gun-free gun zone, where we were able to legally carry there, and there was a guy, a border patrol or safety officer was able to take out the threat, that would have prevented either all or if not more deaths than what happened. So I'm a firm believer if this is just another reinforcement of get rid of gun-free zones. You know,
Right.
and first foremost is just I feel for the kids and the families, obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, that goes without saying. I think a lot of people, it goes without saying. But it's amazing that when this happens, the Democrats' knee-jerk reaction is first, and then on the back end. Um, can you still hear me?
Yeah, Jason, I can hear you.
All right, yeah, because I
I
think
just froze that for a quick second.
yeah, it's catching up. Having trouble. This is often. All right, good. We're back. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, man. The shooting was just a bad thing, and people are going to politicize it right away. Now, of course, Republicans, they stay quiet and they stay too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the Democrats already calling for restriction and a change in firearms and getting rid of that. And I'm like, yo, let's fucking let people mourn and and do what people do, and then we can have this conversation in a week or two, but
Absolutely.
not the day after or the day of when it happened.
Let the families have time to grieve.
Right, and that's the problem. They politicize it, and then Joe Biden shows up to I'm not console the families, but visit the site, and I'm like, the fuck are you visiting the site for? I mean, it listen, as the president of the United States, there are other things he needs to be. First of all, he's not a real president. I have to say
Right.
that, but
He's placed.
yeah, he has to worry about the bigger issues we have. And I know that when people see kids being killed, it's a sensitive issue and everybody gets really emotional. But we have bigger fucking issues coming down the pipe. And he should be focused on that. But instead, he wants to have a tap dance show and show his political side at these kids. The site where they were killed. Sorry. So I don't know, man. I just think this is all bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I'm not sure. Texas is a pretty pro-gun state, so I think it's time that we revamp. I think we need more either resource officers at these schools. It's not a gun. Well, the politicians will argue that it's a gun, but it's not. It's not legally right, and it's actually illegal to take away our guns for that reason. I mean, the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed for a reason, which even a common folk can understand that. Like, why would you take law-abiding legal citizens' weapons away because a psychotic individual tore up a school? That I didn't do that. I would never do that. The prepping community would not go and do that. You have a psychotic individual who was showing signs, regardless of how it ended up happening. Somebody knew something, and he got a background check and he passed it.
Well, here's my bigger question. I mean, obviously they're going to explain it a little later, but how did this kid afford all of that weaponry and ammo?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the thing is too is he got the top of the line AR-15. Now, like why would you do that? An 18-year-old. Well, it's funny how it's just an 18-year-old. You keep hearing about 18-year-olds. How they're all just that specific age, which is kind of, I don't know, coincidental, in my opinion. But you're going to go for a budget AR. You're not going to go for top of the line. Why would you go top of the line if you're only,
It's weird. I get it. The whole the going at the top of the line shit. And then again, where the fuck did he get all this money from? He's
right.
18. At best, he works at McDonald's or fucking Freaky Fridays. Whatever the hell he works at, he isn't making that kind of money to afford that kind of weaponry and the amount of ammo he bought as well. And not for nothing, but if it's true, if he did buy that amount of ammo, that means the gun shop should have said, wait a second, this is a bit much. Unless the kid told the guy, oh, I'm going to a shooting course, then that would make some sort of sense.
Yeah.
But listen, anybody that buys that much ammo and is that young is a red flag to me. And I'm going to question it. especially being that the kids today at 18 years old, I just wouldn't trust it.
Well, well, and the thing is too, Jason, and I agree with everything you just said. Um, it's rot in the soul, right? It's
right,
not just if you take away the gun, it'll be a knife. You take the gun, a knife away, which that would never happen. But they could use the cars, they could
right,
use anything. Evil will find a way to do evil deeds.
right, right. No, and that was leading to look what the guy did in 42nd Street. What, a few years ago? Was that 5 years ago now? The
Yeah,
guy in the sidewalk, right? And,
yeah,
and we don't have guns here, but well, okay, I'm sorry. The law-abiding citizens don't have guns here. The criminals do. But
yeah.
even this guy couldn't own a firearm. He got in the car and fucking went to war, right? So I mean, yes, criminals are going to find a way, and people will argue, well, guns, create the most damage because X, Y, and Z. True, but had this guy took his car and drove through a street fair, he would have had the same fucking response. Oh, the guy in what was that? What Waukesha? I can never say that name.
Kenosha.
Not Kenosha. The other
Oh,
one. The guy that used the car.
yeah. I know you're talking.
Waukesha. I think I'm saying it right because someone just put it here. The guy used the car, right, to kill those people, and being that, well, one, he was black,
Yeah,
so they didn't want to go down. They didn't want to go down that road. And he used the car. You don't hear them saying, "Oh, we got to ban cars," right? So it's interesting how their argument changes as things go on. As it doesn't fit their narrative, they drop it all together. If it fits their narrative, they're like, "Oh, well, now we got to take the guns away." And it was just a straight jump to that. It wasn't even like they didn't even ease into it, man. They didn't even lube it up. They went right in, fucking like we got to make more restrictions. We got to take shit away.
Well, and yeah, and it's crazy. Nothing adds up.
No.
We can all agree on that. Well, and it's like, why is it always the AR-15? I there's a lot of false flags, that we've seen over the years, right? And how come it's never an AK-47? The AK-47 actually technically is even more robust than the AR-15.
Well, it's the gun that's on the Democrats' list to ban, right?
Yeah.
They want to ban all of assault weapons, but that is one of the what you call. So this kid again buys the exact weaponry that they want to ban. I find it fucking strange. This kid, judging from what they've been talking about him, the way they've been talking about him, he is not a gun kid. So for him to go for top of the line and spend all that money that he didn't have,
yeah,
it strikes me weird. That's all.
I'm reading some of the comments, and they're like, "Leave my AK alone."
Don't bring an AK into this. They said an EO Tech is minimum $600. Like I said, guys,
it's not cheap.
All the things he got were fairly fucking expensive, and an 18-year-old kid working at fucking Piggly Wiggly's or Freaky Friday can't afford that shit. So where did this money come from? Did his mother give it to him? But then supposedly the number I got was over $6,000. The shit was bought. Where the hell did he get $6,000 from?
Yeah, that's not a common. No, you're gonna get a common, the lowest AR you could get is probably about $500, and and you can actually make a custom one with all the parts that you want for less than that, But it just, I don't know. I think Uncle Sam might have had some partake in that somehow.
That's the only problem is because these kids are so young. I'm like, which project did they use? Right.
It's possible. I mean, look at DCYF. It's possible that they had a rough foster childhood. I mean, I don't know where they picked these. I don't want to belittle the incident at all. I'm just talking about the individual. But I mean, one that kind of still sticks out to me is Sandy Hook. That one just is still today doesn't resonate. And I understand tragedies are tragedies, but some of these events just don't sit right. There's just too many inconsistencies or coincidences.
Well, look at the look at the Texas. I'm sorry, the Nevada incident, right? The Las Vegas. Sorry. As soon as the district attorney and the sheriff started questioning, none of this adds up. This doesn't make sense. That case and story was dropped immediately. They had a press conference on TV. I remember it was in the middle of the day, at least here. And the sheriff was like, something doesn't add up. He goes, we watched every video camera we possibly can, every footage we could, and we did not see any footage of him bringing any bags in that would amount to the kind of weaponry we saw in the room. So once he said that, and then the district attorney, I think it was the district attorney, and that maybe wasn't the district attorney, it was a county something lawyer. He goes, yeah, he goes, there are things that just don't add up with the story, and we're starting to believe that, he said, we're starting to believe, and it was like he stopped himself short, and he goes, it's not sitting well with us. And as soon as that was said, that whole thing died.
No, I know. Well, that's like, going back to the incident, why wasn't there police officers like going in there right away? Even if there's a lack of training, as long as, it's easy for me to say because I wasn't in the situation, but
well,
there was a lot of inconsistencies. Like, why wasn't there protocol?
Well, the problem with the cops is that once again, kids wind up being the victim, and in this large number of kids that passed away, people are looking to blame. They're looking to blame anything and everything. So they're going to look at the cops, and the cops responded like that in the Virginia Tech shooting. They were sitting outside waiting for backup. With this, protocols in my book should have went out the window. There should have been a couple of cowboys in there that ran in there, and if they died, they died. But if they stopped this guy from killing any more kids, that would have been worth it. No, but the problem is, it comes back to the blame game. Everybody's going to play the blame game when you have a situation like this, right?
I think, if you don't mind if I interject, I think the best thing for us to do to prevent a similar situation to this is to have a nationwide abolish of gun-free zones at schools. Allow resource officers to be there to have guns. They should already have them. If they don't have the training, get them the training. Yeah, but you should allow teachers who are law-abiding citizens who can legally carry and have training to carry guns on the premises.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know there's certain schools that do it. There was a school, the teachers, and it seemed like all black teachers, but they were strapped, man. They fucking all had a weapon on them, and they were showing the news crew like, we carry this because X, Y, and Z. Now, I do have an issue with teachers being armed because the teacher has to be very patient, right? These kids today, they work your last nerves, man. I watched these fucking videos with these kids taunting teachers or taunting cops. They work your last nerve, and I can see a teacher not shooting a kid, but definitely pistol whipping the shit out of one of them. And that's where my problem is, because we got too many unstable teachers out here.
Well, right? And that's a legitimate claim. I agree. It's easy to say, oh, just harm the teachers, but then you start getting into a whole different argument of like, well, what if X, Y, and Z happens? So it's not a one and done answer. It's right. Definitely
something to think about.
Well, and most doors in schools are supposed to be locked at 100% all times. So,
well, I mean, and you know what? And I thought about that, but I'm like, and then the shooter is coming down the hallway, and that teacher's trying to get that lockbox open, and he's panicking now because he's nervous and he's scared. The teachers, and to do something like that, you have to take a training, and you have to have somebody yelling at you. You have to have somebody, firing blanks or whatever over your head to get you riled up and frazzled so that you can, train to react accordingly. Because people, man, in a gunfight or a possible gunfight coming to you hear the shooters coming down the hallway, you're trying to unlock that box, man. That's a lot of fucking stress trying to get that key in there, and your hand shaking. And listen, some teachers will do it, some teachers won't. But I think listen, like you said, something can be worked on. I mean, obviously, right? I always say, if we put a fucking man on the moon, we can absolutely figure this bullshit out, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I think teachers should, but the teachers have to go through strict training, and I think paid training, so that they would agree to do it.
Hmm.
And they have to learn how to put fucking rounds on the target, and not like here in NYP, here in New York City, the officers are just trained to make sure they aim the gun in a safe direction and put a round down range.
Hmm.
They have to hit somewhat of the target, or they have to hit the target, but their shooting skills suck. For teachers that are around kids, they need to put it in the fucking spot, in that circle that they want them to put it in, whatever it is. And if that takes them a couple days to learn how to shoot, then so be it. And if they don't pass that training, they don't get to carry.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, what I was thinking too is, the liability. A lot of teachers probably wouldn't want that liability because look at the, judicial system. Even if it's a righteous kill, justified shooting. Let's say, you know, you're gonna go broke trying to keep yourself from ending up in jail for the rest of your life.
True, and that's you're right. That is another problem. I mean, listen, there's a lot of problems, but we could definitely work on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, the kids' lives are more important than anything else.
It is.
And the two adults, of course, that we lost too. But it's the thing is though is that we need these discussions. Otherwise, the Democrats win because if we just keep it hush hush to ourselves and not be out, and not have this conversation, then nothing's going to change.
No, nothing's ever going to change. But the problem is the Democrats don't want to change the conversation. They want to have the same conversation so that we have the same fucking merry-go-round bullshit. All right, well, we want to take this away. Okay, well, you can't take this away. Well, all right. Well, you know what? We'll come back in a couple months. And then before you know it, some new bullshit happens and everybody's distracted again and they're focused on whatever that new fucking flavor of the month is. Seems like it's a flavor of the week. Now, switching gears.
Mm-hmm.
I know you knew what happened last week in Davos, right? The World Economic Forum meeting.
Yeah.
Anything that you heard out of that makes you worried or raise your antennas?
Well, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, he's psychotic, man. That guy is unstable. He's the amount of money that they have a lot of they can sway a lot of people, and the best thing we can do, because no one in our government is doing anything to prepare for what's coming. They're trying to turn our military into fish in a barrel. Like we're destroying our reserves. For the military, our oil reserves are being depleted. We're not energy independent like we were. We're not doing anything. We're buying energy now, so we are weaker now than we were in 9/11. And and it's a damn shame. I'm deeply frustrated, but with what they're trying to do and discuss, the more Americans that are prepared for what's coming, the less dependent we will be on this new system. I do agree we need a reset, but not the reset that they're talking about. First, it was Agenda 21, then it was Agenda 2030, and now it was a great reset, and now they're saying New World Order. So they keep changing it, but it's the same tactics at the end. They want communism here.
No, they. Well, I think it's worse than communism. I would, and I hate to say this, but I would almost welcome communism over what they have planned for us.
Yeah.
I think what they have planned for us, man, it's going to be extremely bad. It's going to make communism look like fucking freedom. And interestingly enough, talking about freedom, because it just popped in my head, I happened to see Top Gun 2, Top Gun Maverick.
I haven't seen it yet, so but I want to go see it. I just haven't had time yet.
The best fucking sequel ever fucking made.
I heard it was way better than the first one.
Way better than the first one. But here's the reason why I really, really, really like the movie. First of all, I'm not going to talk about the movie, but a Chinese tech company backed out of the movie or financially supported the movie. Sorry, because they were worried that it was going to piss off Beijing because the movie had too much, according to the Chinese tech firm, uh, American propaganda. And I saw that, and I was like, this movie just became 1,000 times better after hearing that.
Mm.
So with that, um, I tell people now, yo, go see fucking Top Gun. I mean, it's fucking awesome. And yeah, I know some of you guys are like, I hate Tom Cruise. He's a nut job. Fuck it. Get over it. He's an actor. That's what they do. These people
Yeah.
act, they do dumb shit, they say stupid shit, they keep us entertained and keep our mind off of the bullshit. But Top Gun 2, the best shit I ever fucking seen. Uh, and they said there was too much American propaganda, meaning too much flag waving and freedom talk. And I'm like, but you did a movie on United States Navy. What the fuck you thought they were going to talk about? You know, like, and that's why the tech company pulled out. But again, best sequel ever fucking made. It blew part one out of the waters like you wouldn't believe. And that's the first sequel to actually have done that.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that how many stunts he did on his own is amazing. You know,
The, the jet,
regardless of his politics, he's a great actor.
yeah. I mean, listen, he keeps his politics pretty close to the vest,
Mhm.
which is good, which is good. But Bubble World says China finance. Bubble World, that's what I'm saying. The Chinese tech company did not finance the movie. They pulled out of it, and they had other American investors step in because that was going to fuck them. But anyway, not the point. The point is that these countries, China, for example, they're looking at our freedom. They're looking how we carry on with a lot of our shit, and they're like, no, we want that to be a closed society. So China is a closed society. We are an open society. And right now,
Yeah.
open society is pissing everyone else off. It's pissing
Mhm.
off Klaus Schwab. It's pissing off George Soros. I'm pretty sure it's pissing off Russia as we speak. Obviously, it's pissing off China. And they want this to come to an end.
Yeah. Well, and that pesky, dirty old document, called the Constitution with our Bill of Rights.
Well,
That,
yeah. So,
they're
yeah.
like, oh man, the pesky Second Amendment. This the reason why we have the Second Amendment, and this is shout out to Joe Biden, is because it's for a tyrannical government. But you're not supposed to have military grade, AR-15. What do you think the flintlock was at the
Yeah,
time?
really.
You
Yeah.
know, and what eventually came from the flintlock, every every gun that we've gone through over the years has been military grade, quote unquote.
Right.
And in fact, these guns are actually outdate our military. So saying military grade is just and if you know what military grade is, it's basically the cheapest contractor for the cheapest amount of material.
Yeah. And it's not
That's military grade.
Yeah, and they every time they say military grade, I'm like, I said, no, it's not. I said, a lot of these weapons the military looks at and they go, we want to test that, buy that, we want to try this, try that, and then if they like it, then they buy more, and then it becomes military grade because the simple civilians or normies can't figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fucking. It's not military grade. It's just something the military bought. Now, yes, there have been some weapons that were built specifically for the military. That's military grade. But when it comes to handguns and rifles, that's not military grade. It's just what the military fucking wind up buying or wind up supporting, rather. Sorry. But yeah, there is no real military grade unless it was specifically built for them, like an F-15, right? That's military grade planes. That was specifically built for the military. Wasn't built for civilians to fly around and have fun. Though I wish I was able to fly one of those things, but
Yeah.
again, people listen to the media, and the media sucks them in with all the bullshit, man.
I mean, if we generated enough pencils to the military, we could call them military grade pencils.
Yeah, right, exactly. We probably
or
have,
the new Fords.
right, or military grade post-its. Oh, those post-its never fall off. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, you can make anything military grade, man. It just by saying it. And all those book bags over there, they look military grade. No, asshole. The military just likes them the way they are. They're sturdy shit, But whatever.
Yeah. Well, and technically, by the Constitution, and this is strictly Constitution, not any of the BS laws that we have on the books. I believe a nationwide carry shouldn't be. States have the right, to their opinion, but I really believe that if my license is good in all 50 states, then so should my concealed carry permit.
Well, there's something in the Supreme Court right now about that, about allowing American citizens to carry in all 50 states, if I'm not mistaken, and that would null and void a lot of the states like New York and New York City, stopping us from owning weapons. This is in Supreme Court, and it's very hush hush. Not many people know about it. It was brought to my attention, and I'm probably off a little bit on it. It was brought to my attention a few months ago by the Second Amendment site that I follow, and they were talking about it, but you don't hear about it. So after this shooting happened in Texas, it came up again, and they were like, "We got to stop the Supreme Court from making a deadly decision by letting Americans carry firearms," and yada yada yada. And I hope it passed. But I mean, with this shooting, I don't know. I don't know now. I thought that we had a shot. This shooting might have set it back.
Yeah. Well, and for those who don't know me, when I moved here from Massachusetts, just so you guys know, Massachusetts has flat out banned AR-15s and AK-47s. So if you're caught with one, it's a felony. It got so bad to the point, and this is before I moved. This is like, I forget when it went into place. AKs were the first to go, and then the ARs were like, I think 5 or 6 years ago now. And it's highly unconstitutional. But good luck getting through the Democrat-leaning, left-leaning courts. You're never going to win. It's a lost cause.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, Duckworthy. It's gone. Yeah. So even gun dealers at the time, if they had an AR-15 or an AK-47, it was most likely an AR-15 because they sell way more. If they were caught with one, they would probably lose their license, to be honest.
Well.
So. But now, Jennifer D, I live in West Virginia now, and I couldn't get here fast enough. And I was always conservative leaning. I just didn't realize that was the technical term. I was always, pro-gun, pro-religion. I've always been, you can believe what you want, you shouldn't be, our rights shouldn't be squashed because another human being believes that it's bullshit, right?
Right.
So it's, I voted for constitutional carry here in West Virginia. It came up, I think it was like 4 years ago now. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that I just don't preach it. I also enact my citizenship where I actually voted for it. And basically the way I see it is we're restoring what rights we should have already had anyway. So.
Right. And that's what the Supreme Court case on the Second Amendment is for. It's for the entire country. So hopefully, like I said, I don't see it happening now with the shooting, but hopefully if they put the shooting aside and use logic, that we can get our fucking constitutional freedoms back, at least one of them. Because hell, if we do get that back, we're probably going to see them go full steam ahead with the First Amendment, taking it away. It's right here.
Yeah, when was the last time you heard of a school shooting in West Virginia?
Exactly.
And I use West Virginia as a reference just because, there is a lot of folks here that are poor. They're not, as well off as some of these other other states, excuse me. But West Virginia is very underrated. I had my own bias that I was like, I'm open-minded, but I was just like, I don't know what it's going to be like, and, I definitely fit in very well. My biggest thing is like, if someone's going to move, make sure you don't vote the same way. Make sure you vote, how, like if you're coming from California, you don't want to be voting the same way as in Texas or, some of these other states, Kentucky, Tennessee. So
those people don't get it. That's the problem. A lot of the people who leave, they fail to realize they are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they go to, like you said, they go to another state and they vote, they fuck up shit because they're not aware that they were the reason why everything fell apart to begin with.
Yeah. Well, and you shouldn't even need a permit. The Second Amendment is our permit. So we shouldn't need additional documentation. Even martial law. If there was, I don't think it'll ever be enacted, but if there ever was a situation, West Virginia in our Constitution itself basically tells the federal government you have no jurisdiction here.
Right.
I don't know. Not many states have that, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the other states. I just know as of West Virginia is if there was ever a martial law jurisdiction where the federal government was trying to get in, we have the right to West Virginia has the right to tell the federal government to F off,
Yeah, we don't have that here in New York. We don't have a lot of shit here in New York, so you're very lucky.
Yeah, well, when I was moving, I was looking into some of these things, and I love Kentucky, I love Florida, Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of states I could go on and on, but it's just these blue states, California, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts. I mean, especially the Northeast. Maybe even Maine. A lot of Maine is blue. It's conflicted, but Maine's a beautiful state too. Massachusetts is a beautiful state. It's just run by shitty, corrupt, immoral people. So
that sounds like New York, but worse.
Yeah. New York, I think, is a little bit further ahead of us.
In what, communism or?
Well, I would say Giuliani did a great job for New York City.
Right.
I visited New York City. It's really nice. It's a great city. And even though I'm a Red Sox fan, so even though we have a big rivalry with the Yankees and and all the sports teams respectively, when one of us gets attacked, we're all Americans at the end of the day. So,
and that's all that should matter. But you know what? They like to keep that wedge going. They like to keep that division alive, man. I mean, like it's just, again, with all the bullshit that we're seeing, right? We're seeing possible pandemics popping up all over the place. And then we have, like the Roe versus Wade. Now we got people going at each other with the Second Amendment. Or should we be able to keep our assault weapons, or should we all lose them? So that conversation is starting up. You got people, women constantly protesting about women's rights, but then when asked what's a woman, they argue with you about anybody could be a woman, and then you have women who are fucking fighting with them. Then you have guys who are constantly fighting with weak dudes, like fucking Vespa riding hipsters. I mean, we have division on everything, man. No matter what it is, you got people who even tell you, the Popeye's chicken sandwich is great, and then you got another person saying, "Oh no, it's bad." And they'll argue over that. I mean, it's just, we argue over fucking everything here, and at some point, man, it's got to end. It's got to stop. I mean, I don't know. There's some days, man, I'm just like, this is stupid. This is overboard. Other days, I'm
at some point, you're like, just wake me up from this nightmare.
Yeah.
It's the problem is there's so many of us that want to do something, that we just want to be left the hell alone. We just want to be able to take care of our families, leave our rights alone. The fact that they're trying to give up basically our sovereignty, our rights over to that. If that's not a red flag in itself, if Joe Biden, I mean, he's already sold us out to China. He's already sold our country out to Ukraine, which is why, I don't know, I might get some flack for this, but screw it. Zelensky is not a saint. Okay. He's in a corrupt country. I do support all the citizens that are affected. I feel bad for them. I mean, it's a lot of people displaced real quickly, Yeah. And, but this is exactly why we prep, because that situation, even though it's in Ukraine, something could happen here. So the more prepared we are, the more prepped, the better off, all Americans will be. But I think some of the normies are starting to wake up in West Virginia, because I'm as I shop at Aldi, Walmart, and stuff like that, I'm seeing more canned goods in there inventory. So, and not just like one or two, I'm talking like a case or two, so it's just something interesting to
To know.
yeah.
Well, look, it's funny. Someone just said, the Ukraine got $40 billion. They said worth of weapons, right? But I think it was $40 billion plus weapons. So they got the double banger, right? Again, yeah, listen. I'm not siding with. Listen, I hate the whole pro Russia shit. That shit gets
Yeah.
under my skin. But that's not to say that I'm pro Ukraine either. I'm not. I just think that for example, we just got fucked. Well, not we, but okay, small business owners just got fucked because of this whole Ukraine shit. They were denied $48 billion COVID relief plan. That COVID relief plan was supposed to help business owners in restaurants, gyms, hair salons, whatever it was, whatever small business, and they just got fucked because that $48 million was denied in the same month. So they denied the $48 million for the small businesses after they gave the $40 billion to Ukraine. Right?
Yeah, that's
right. It's bullshit.
Americans first, and end of story. I mean, why are we sitting? We can't save the entire world if we're destroying ourselves internally.
Exactly.
I believe we are a nation of immigrants. We wouldn't look how diverse we are. We've got multiple different races here, every background you could think of in this country. But we got to have our border closed. You can't. I mean, how do we not know that there's insurgents coming in? We don't know who's coming in, is what I'm saying. Like, we don't know. We don't know if this kid came from a different country, or or not just in this situation, but where you have all these shootings. You don't know where these people are coming from. Just today, I was talking to some folks, and there was one guy from Mexico. He couldn't even speak English. Like, we couldn't understand him. You don't know. I'm not saying that he was a threat, but you don't know what one individual is going to do.
Right.
We need to, if we had a closed border and we started like vetting everyone coming across, I'd feel safer knowing that Texas is, in good hands. But with the fact that we have a border that's wide open, anybody can just come in. We're setting us up for another attack.
Oh, big time, man. I mean, again, I go back to that scene in Red Dawn where they were talking about how we were attacked, and they said a large portion of a army, I forgot which army, came through the Mexican border. We have it so wide open now. They had Africans, if I'm not mistaken, who went to, I think it was Venezuela, and then they walked up here and crossed the border. I'm like, they did. First of all, those Africans, they were on some fucking journeys. I mean, they had to come from Africa to South America on a boat and then walk all the way up here. And we don't know what state they're in. Now, I'm pretty sure, listen, I know that those guys are not up to any good, but if they were willing to make that trek, what makes you think a terrorist wouldn't do the same?
Yeah. Well, and, the greatest thing that's ever happened to us in the last, 20 years is Trump, right? He exposed a lot. I hope that he can win the next election without it being stolen.
I
don't even know if we'll make it to that point with everything going on, but
not only will we not make it to that, I think that the Democrats, they're muddying the waters with candidates. You see how many Democrats are talking about running for fucking 2024?
Well, and who's going to run? I mean, I think what's his name? What's his name? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. The guy who's I'm coming after your AR-15s, your AKs.
Is it
what's his name?
Bento or some shit like that?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I used to make fun of him all the time. I'm having a brain fire right now. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
Beto.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, that's his name. Thank you. Yeah, Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Jason and social. I don't know. I couldn't remember his name. I made fun of him all the time
Yeah,
because I'm like, you're not coming after my AR-15. Get the fuck out of here.
yeah.
You know, you show up. Anyone who's going to be coming after my AR-15 is, I'm going to be exercising my Second Amendment. That's all I'm saying. You know,
I hear that, man.
just leave us all alone. You know, but
They
I mean,
don't
that's literally the left. The only thing they want to do is, Bozo. That's his name, Bozo. There you go. You know, they can't ban the ammo, they can't ban the guns, but they're gonna make it to the point where you can't get the parts or you can't get the ammo.
Oh, they definitely are. I mean, listen, I these guys, I don't know what world they live in, but I know that the World Economic Forum, they are nervous about moving on the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, listen, a closed society you cannot get in a country that follows the Constitution and a country that's still armed, right? Australia, they're falling into a closed society. They're next. China is already there. They're fine tuning it. Russia, they're starting to creep into it. I forgot there was a couple, there was a list of countries that are. I think Brazil
Mm-hmm.
they're on board with it. There are a couple of South American countries that are on board with it, and Canada. They're going to be following that same direction if they keep electing people like what's his name, Tudoroso, whatever the fuck his name is. If they keep doing that, they're going to end up into a closed society. This
Yeah.
country,
Well, and look at what's going on in Canada. You know, with Justin Trudeau. You know, he's trying to play a dictator, but I don't know. Trudeau is he's a corrupt politician, man. He's definitely he's a tyrant. You know, 100%. True Castro, yeah, yep.
True Castro, like a dictator, yeah, big time. So, guys, again, this is Northern Purple One. I know you guys are again liking what you're hearing. The guy is again squared away. You can see he's smart. So do me a favor and do him a favor. Head over to his channel and like and subscribe. This has been a very quick and interesting conversation, man. I mean, we went, damn it, yeah, we went fucking, it went fast, and that's good when it goes fast. When a live stream drags and you want to shoot yourself, you know it's boring. This went fucking fast. So this is good.
No, I enjoyed you having me come on, and I appreciate everyone who's subscribed and coming over to my channel. You know, you've always had great. This is like one big family, really. You know, the prepper community, and you know, we're all in the same boat. We just got to keep preparing, doing the best we can. I can't believe it's been almost an hour. I mean, it feels like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know this can easily go on for a long
Well, definitely, we'll have to have you on my channel, and I'll definitely come back on for sure. You know, it's
Well, yeah. Listen, I was supposed to do a roundtable discussion last month, man, but I was overthinking it. So this month I'm gonna try to set two up between the guys and the women, and then the mixed floor. This the month of June. I think starting September, I'll be doing way less videos because I'm hoping something happens by August. And if something happens by August, we're out of here September, October, the latest. If this thing doesn't happen or go through, then I wind up staying here till January, February. So you know, regardless, we're out of here.
Oh yeah. Patricia, thank you for subscribing. I'm just seeing that. I appreciate everyone who subscribed. I appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks, Jason, for having me on. One thing I just want to interject real quick before we go. You know, whenever you're ready. Minutes. We got 5 minutes. Okay. The one thing I wanted to say was BlackRock is now backtracking. BlackRock, if you guys aren't familiar with them, most of you probably are, but just if you aren't, they're a company where they have, I think it's over like 30 trillion, maybe even more money than that. I mean, they've got a ton of money and a lot of sway. So what they do is they buy up properties. So like, let's say someone's selling a home for, you know, 300,000, they'll actually buy it from them guaranteed without even looking at it for like $375,000. No questions asked. So they're buying up all these properties, and what they're doing is they're trying to flip them to be able to turn them into, you know, apartment buildings, to be able to get more people, you know, try to get into the city, more and more people into the cities. And basically, this comes into where they say you're going to rent and you're going to love it. Like you're not going to own anything. You're just going to rent everything and you're going to love it. And with all the pushback from this community and a lot of Americans across the country, they're actually backtracking now. So you got to keep the pressure up.
That's good. Yeah, that's called a shared economy.
Mm-hmm.
What they're looking to do is make sure that we are all pretty much buying the same shit and owning the same shit, but not owning it, but like you said, rent it. They're even talking about, I don't know how this is going to happen in our lifetime, but they're even talking about renting apartments so that let's say you or I, for example, we live in the same apartment, but I work the 8 to 12 shift and you work the 12 to 8.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And yeah, that's whatever. So you get what I'm saying. So while I'm at work, you're sleeping or you're supposed to be sleeping. And then when I come home, you go to work. So we're never in the apartment at the same time, but we have the same kind of food, we have the same utensils, and it's called a shared economy. And this was created or thought up by the World Economic Forum, but it was specifically, if I'm not mistaken, a woman who thought of this shared economy shit. This is how you get our carbon footprint down, by creating less items, having everybody buy the same items and or share the same items so that there is less product being made and less pollution being made and put into the atmosphere. Yeah, it's fuck that, man. But now if BlackRock is doing what you say they did, that's good shit then. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I was aware that they were buying up real estate. I didn't know that they were backtracking. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, they were pretty confident before, and now the most recent, I was reading an article, and basically they're backtracking a little bit. So it is a slight win for the Americans, for us, but we got to keep the pressure up. I mean, we don't want this reset. I mean, don't get me wrong, our country needs a reset, but not the reset that they're talking about.
Well, yeah, I think everything needs a reset at this point. And you know what the problem with the Great Reset is? I see what they're trying to say, that the planet's overcrowded, that we don't have enough resources. I get it. But killing off a third or half the population isn't the answer either. So it's two extremes. I mean, like, again, we have a mission to Mars, right? What is it, 2030? Which I find it interesting, by the way, that the elites are still making plans for certain things to happen. Right? And they still have on their timetable that mission to Mars. And right, it's 8 years that they're talking about launching and getting people there. They think that humanity will not be able to survive on this planet, but they want to go to another planet and fuck that up. But whatever. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but again, killing off a third of the population or half the population or 3/4 is not the answer. And that's their answer. They're like, fuck it, kill them off. Instead of going, we should come up with a way or grow more, build more farms, hire more farmers, teach people to be farmers. Instead of doing that and feeding people, they're looking to get us killed and off this rock. Elysium, that was a good movie, by the way. But yeah, that's almost like it. Not quite there, but almost like it. Mars would be Elysium, right?
Yeah, I think what we can all take away from is don't mess with our rights. We are going to exercise our Second Amendment, and we're not going to give that up. That's the number one thing they're going to try to push over the next few years is, and they're already starting to now, especially ramping up to, the election coming up this year. And the biggest thing is just we got to fight back. Don't give in to them. They only have control. We only lose our rights if we forfeit to them.
That is true. That's why the fight that we have to get into is a necessity. It's not something that we, well, maybe we have to, because that's where we are right now.
Yeah, mentally we have to be prepared.
Yeah, and I just hope people can get on board to that. But we shall see where this goes. All right, guys. So with that, we are at the 10 o'clock mark. I'm myself going to head over to the Angry Truth channel. We're going to talk about a couple of political issues that happened this week. One of them being Eric Adams' wanting to run for president. I can't fucking believe he's fucking thinking of that. But anyway, that's going to be one of the conversations amongst others. Other than that, guys, head over to Northern Prepper One's YouTube channel and subscribe. I know you guys like what you heard. Again, smart guy, level-headed, and not a kook, right?
Yeah,
And it was fun having him on the channel tonight. I think I've been lucky. Every guest I've had on so far has been fun and level. I'm hoping not to break this fucking streak.
yeah,
But again, man, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being a guest tonight.
yeah. Thanks again, and Jason, I just want to say thanks for having other channels on as well. It's great having that discussion and seeing everybody's point of view. So
yes, it is. Well, guys, again, thank you, and I will see you guys in the Angry Truth in a few minutes. All right, guys. Good night.
see you guys. Thank you.